didn't look.
We're good. Yay, Amber. Let me get out of the line of camera.
Oh, I have a question about this.
Yeah.
Is this a thing that is like public, or is this posted afterwards?
Yeah, so sometimes the live stream doesn't work great because we'll record and post afterwards, but we're good today.
Okay.
So it goes right to our YouTube channel. So if you just Google like City of Lancaster government, you'll see. Yeah.
Cool.
And so it goes right there, and if for any reason it goes out, we still keep recording, then we post it.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Hi, how are you?
I'll look forward to it. Fascinating. Somebody can say something or really fast. I don't know what you're talking about. Good evening, everybody. I have 7:30, so if you could take your seats, we're going to get started with tonight's meeting. I would actually take your seats. I'd ask you all to please rise so that we can say pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, if you could call the roll, members, please.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. Valentine.
Here.
Ms. Graham.
Here.
Ms. Diaz.
Here.
Mr. Rivera.
Here.
Mr. Smith-Waddell.
Here.
Mr. Sutton.
Here.
And President Reichenbach.
Here. Approval of the minutes for the May 14th, 2019 meeting.
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Council comments from the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Valentine.
Aye.
Ms. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Rivera.
Aye.
Mr. Smith-Waddell.
Aye.
Mr. Sutton.
Aye.
And President Reichenbach.
All right. Moving on to proclamations, honors, awards, and resolutions of recognition. We have our May Neighbor of the Month, Karen Gifford. Mayor.
Thank you. Karen, if you wouldn't mind joining me. So it is my pleasure to honor Karen Gifford as Neighbor of the Month for this month of May. And Karen was nominated by Andrew Whalen. I don't know who told you. Yeah, so Andrew nominated you for your commitment to Neighbors United, continuing to support and behind-the-scenes organizing of National Night Out. And I don't know if any of you have been over to National Night Out in this particular area of the city, but they have one of the best National Nights Out. She's brought together guest speakers for discussion on opioids and has started a Nar-Anon group for families of people dealing with substance abuse issues. This month, we are honored to acknowledge your years of dedication. You are a lifelong city resident, almost entirely, and McCaskey alumni. And we really appreciate all that you continue to do and give to our city. And so on behalf of the City of Lancaster, I'm happy to give to you a $50 a set of downtown dollars for you to spend that are sponsored by Macy's Candy, so you might want to stop by there. And also this certificate of appreciation. Thank you so much, Karen.
Honor, I'm actually more comfortable doing the behind the scenes stuff rather than being the face out in front. So it's an honor and a privilege. The 700 block of North Shippen Street rocks. Come out to our block party because it really is amazing. It's not just me, there's a whole bunch of people doing it. And we've been doing this for a while, so we kind of have a thing that makes it flow. It's not so difficult. But Lancaster makes it easy to want to be here and to do things, and there's just so much going on. I'm really happy being here. So, thank you so much.
Thank you. And I will say your parties do rock. They're fantastic every time we go there. They are. They're terrific. It's a great community vibe you have going there. So thank you, and keep it up, please, because I like walking down there. Thank you. So we'll move on to Council Resolution number 25, 2019, recognizing May 2019 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the City of Lancaster.
A resolution of the Council of the City of Lancaster recognizing May 2019 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the City of Lancaster and encouraging the actions and attitudes which eliminate the stigma of mental illness.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion and a second. Councilwoman Diaz.
Yes, I would like to speak about mental illness and how it affects a lot of people within their family. It's important to me because as a sexual assault counselor in the past and also dealing with PTSD and my family being in the military, it's so important to recognize and support them in any way that we can. And it's not to be bullying them or making them feel inadequate. Unfortunately, today I read that there was a couple that were taking money, stealing money from mental health patients, which was $36,000. So if you do see anybody that is being abused in some way or another, or being disrespected, the best way to do it is to stand up for that person. If you might save a life, unfortunately my one cousin, he committed suicide. So this is very important to make it May Awareness Month, but most of all, every single day to be aware of it. So I would like to present this to Dr. Gina Cavorsi and Mike Stevens from Lancaster General Behavioral Health.
So as they're coming up, I spent the better part of my career in community mental health, and I've talked about this before on council, and I won't belabor the point. The one thing that I see that is a positive is the conversations that we're now having with people like yourselves. The mayor has been open to have those conversations. It's been a great communication to figure out how we're going to get to where we need to go together, which is a wonderful thing. And also the fact that, oh, go ahead and grab it. You don't have to worry about me talking. I just blabber on, it's fine. Pictures are more important. I think also too, the acknowledgement of the fact that mental illness, even though it's something you might not necessarily be able to see, that it exists and it's critical in the lives of people. So we struggle constantly with that to try to convince people that it's real, even though you can't see it. You don't have to convince somebody you have diabetes when you have diabetes. It's just a natural thing, and you give medicine for it, and we accept it, and we give help. But if you tell somebody you have PTSD, or you have some type of psychological disorder, it's often belabored as, well, you're lazy, or you have behavior problems, or you just don't want to do something. And I feel like we're making progress on that front, but we've still got a long way to go. So thank the two of you. You've done tremendous work already, just getting your footprint here, and the conversations that we've had together and with the mayor and others about how we're really going to have an impact that's tailored to Lancaster City and what our needs are is wonderful. So we hope we continue that collaboration going forward. So if you want to share a few thoughts, please, if you'd like to. The mic is open. Please, no, go ahead. Yeah, you certainly are.
So I just want to thank the City of Lancaster for being so incredibly open to us in our new hospital. For those of you who aren't familiar with us, we're Lancaster Behavioral Health Hospital. We opened up in July last year. We are slowly growing our census at the hospital and opening up more and more units to accommodate individuals in this community who are facing mental health crises. The community has been incredibly receptive to us. Our goal is to make these resources just more accessible to the folks in Lancaster City and Lancaster County. And as Councilwoman Diaz commented, you know, we really need to raise the awareness of the importance of taking care of our mental and emotional health, as well as decreasing the stigma of seeking help. So you'll be seeing Mike and I around, spreading that message, and we're open. So if anyone ever needs anything or knows of anyone who is in crisis, we are open 24 hours a day. And folks can just walk in, and we will help them to get the resources that they need, whether it's an inpatient admission or a referral for outpatient services, we're there. So thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. And thank you, Councilwoman Diaz, for bringing that to Council's attention to be able to be brought forth tonight. We really appreciate that.
Just point that from my
Sure. Thank you. So we'll move into our first public comment period that was reserved for citizens who contacted the city clerk.
Mr. President,
Yes.
housekeeping measure.
Oh.
We never voted on that.
We probably should vote for it because it'd be important that you're walking out with something that got passed. So that would be great. Any other comments from the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Valentine.
Aye.
Ms. Gregg.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Rivera.
Aye.
Mr. Smith-Waddell. Aye. Mr. Soto.
Aye.
President Reagan.
Aye. You are now official. You are go forth and prosper.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Take care. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we'll talk to you soon. So now we'll move on to public comment, reserved for citizens who've contacted the city clerk prior to tonight's meeting. Mr. Harrison, anybody call ahead?
They have not, Mr. President.
Thank you. And we'll move right into reports requested by council. Love Your Block quarterly report.
Hello, my name is Carl Patterson.
And my name is Michael Prescott.
And we are the two AmeriCorps Vistas who are representing Love Your Block as a program of the Department of Neighborhood Engagement. So in January of 2019, we presented some of our preliminary surveying from canvassing on Howard Avenue and in the Churchtown neighborhood. This information gave us a better grasp on understanding how to make a mini grant application that served the wants and needs of residents in the target area of Love Your Block. And we're happy to share that information with anybody if they reach out to us. I'll be right back with business cards and place them by the door. And Bernie, are we good on our presentation?
Yeah.
So, one of the first things that we've accomplished this year is secure our branding for Love Your Block to take on a Lancashire Rose in the city authentic branding. And on Valentine's Day, we launched our application. So Michael and I spread across the city, canvassing Howard Avenue and Churchtown to meet with our neighborhood partners and anchoring organizations. In April, we had the chance to visit our Cities of Service nonprofit partners in New York City. There, we were able to meet with Natalie from the City of New York, Chief Sustainability Officer, and meet with our CEO to get a better feel for Love Your Block and communication between cities. And this is a good chance to thank our partners here in Lancaster as well. So, SACA is leading Lancaster's Southeast Elm Street movement and has helped us secure some Pennsylvania state grants to encourage more of our Love Your Block grants over the next year and two. Tabor Community Service, who's our acting fiduciary with Belco, who holds all of our club accounts. So this is the first of a few of our mini grants. So we selected 9 of our 11 applications, and this is Kirsten Jordan of the Dolphin Group down in the south side of Churchtown, Erica and San Juan Bautista kids who are representing San Juan Bautista online. Marquise Lupton and the TCP crew having a really ride of a time. We love them so much. This was our photo from our orientation. All of the group leaders are represented here, and notable Aaron Dixon in the Churchtown neighborhood. Valerie Bradley, who's sitting in the back right now. I don't want to embarrass her too much, but I will point. With hope for, hashtag Hope for Howard. Next, Rayvon Jordan, representing River's Edge Fellowship. And then we have some more photos, but we didn't put them on the slide just to save everybody a bit of time. Cooper Lindy representing Putting the How in Howard Avenue, a really great funny name. Edna Ortiz, Beautifying Atlantic down on Atlantic Avenue. And Louis Torres representing the Mints.
Yeah, thanks, Lackeys. So, what are these projects looking like? As we explained in our previous presentations, it's really about getting the residents to apply and see what they want to do. So it's not just us telling, residents and neighbors what needs to happen in their neighborhoods, but hearing their words and their interests and what they want to see the focus on in their own neighborhoods and in their community buildings that are there and on the streets. So we've been just really excited to see the people that have gotten interested in the project, in the program, and all the conversations that have happened around it. So just excited about who's applied. But yeah, what do these projects look like? So the first project that has happened already was through the TCP network, or the Cultured Professional, at the Crispus Attucks Community Center down on Howard and South Duke. It's a great picture of them at work that day with that Love Your Block sign. And so that happened on Saturday, May 18th. It was a 12-hour project day, so they went from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You got 37 volunteers in that, and over the total, we hope to have over 100 people just involved in these different projects, which is just great. They had 7 partner organizations, so it wasn't, again, it's not about us and what we can do, but it's about connecting people with other neighbors, other residents, but also with other organizations that can help. They cleared out a whole load of trash, over 500 pounds. They did work on the facade, they cleaned up the grounds, and they were starting on some interior work to get more programming happening in there. But we're just excited for what these guys are achieving and just happy to be part of that. Some of the other projects going on, people are painting porches, some other work on doors and windows, and some simple painting. We're getting more trash cans put on the sidewalk because really people are interested in seeing that happening. We've been encouraging people to join the Adopt a Block program, and people have been jumping on that and really taking ownership. And so as part of that, they just wanted it to be easier for members of the public just to get rid of the trash themselves. And as part of that, these groups will be adopting those trash cans as well. So they'll be looking after them week to week, putting the trash bags on the road for the city to clear up and replacing them. So it continues that continued engagement. There's some mural projects happening on North Street with a focus, that one on Nelson Polite, just so celebrating the history of that neighborhood and having that conversation that's through the mix and just with the kids, so they're aware of that as well, the great heritage there. And then some promotion of Adopt a Block and a block party down on Dauphin, which is also going to be doing a really big community cleanup on, I think that's June 29th, this Saturday, which is going to try and cover the whole Churchtown neighborhood. Yeah, so we're just excited about these projects, just what's happening, the people involved, and what they want to see done in their neighborhoods. Next slide. As part of this, we're also working with our director, Milsey Carrasco, on seeing what other sort of larger scale work could be done through the engagement we've done, these relationships that have been started. And so we're doing just a revitalization assessment down Howard Avenue, seeing where the city can step in and do some work in just partnership with homeowners and landlords, but also what other different pieces we're working with, like tree tenders, and Linda Farrick is trying to get some native pollinators and an architect, and just different ideas with keeping at the center, seeing what the community wants to be done, but seeing who can partner along with that. But that's still in the assessment phase. This is a picture of just walking down the street with some people. There's Jeremy from Lancaster City Alliance there as well. So we'll be having more words on that hopefully soon, and just keeping you aware of that. So that's what's been going on. It's been a busy 5 months or 4 months since we last spoke to you. So for the future, we're having some members of Cities of Service, who is our organization who sponsors us. So next slide. They'll be coming down. This is a fun city photo then. Coming down to just visit, and it's June 12th and 13th. If anyone's free during those days, they'd love to meet you as well. but they're coming down just to chat with us what's going on, do some site visits, and have some conversations here. So they're based in New York City and they really want to come out. And then me and Carl, sadly, only have 3 months left in City Hall. So we're looking for 2 more great people to join this program to replace us and be the new vistas for the following year. So yeah, we're hiring. And if you guys have connections, you know anyone who might be really interested in this, who are passionate about community, passionate about the city, about neighborhoods, and seeing life happen in those parts of the city, we'd really like to know about that and just see this program move forward in strength. And moving forward, there'll be another mini grant application process in the fall, so we'll be encouraging more people to apply. And then, yeah, if you want to know things as they're happening, follow us on Facebook, just the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Engagement, and we just try to post there frequently just to keep people updated and just let everyone know what is going on when we can. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. And I'm going to give you a round of applause because people knew how much work. I want to talk about an example of maximizing the time that you have. The 2 of you, along with the members of the community, have absolutely maximized every minute that you've had in the city. Always see you with a smile on your face, always willing to talk to people. Just the fact that that organized event we had prior to this meeting where you had residents in City Hall and just having that engagement, bringing people in, you're going to have a lot to be proud of when you leave this. And if you want to change your name and reapply and just kind of be different, switch it up a little bit, we might be able to figure that out. But we're really proud of you. The engagement and the energy level for the projects that you guys have helped with is amazing. And it's no small thing, so we're really, really proud of you, and thank you. And we know you're not done yet. We'll give you a fond farewell, but thank you so much for what you've done so far. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. So we will move on to our interim reports of committees of council. I believe Councilwoman Diaz has a report this evening.
Yes, Mr. President. With the retirement of the city building code officer, Gary Horton, a city code representative needs to be appointed to the role on Historical Commission and the Historical Architectural Review Board. John Lefevre will be serving as the city interim bureau chief of building code, compliance and inspections until the permanent replacement of Mr. Horton is done. I make a motion to appoint Mr. Lefevre to the Historical Architectural Review Board and to the Historical Commission for the remaining of Mr. Horton's term, or until the replacement of Mr. Horton is named. And I wish Mr. Horton good luck in his retirement.
Second. So we have a motion and a second. Do not see it here. Council comments from the public. Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Valentine.
Aye.
Ms. Gray.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Cooper.
Aye.
Mr. Smith-Waddell.
Aye.
Mr. Soto.
Aye.
And President Reagan.
Aye. Thank you, Councilwoman. We'll move into our legislative agenda. These are all items that will be voted on this evening. First, we have ordinances for final passage. Administration Bill number 5, 2019.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Lancaster, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, amending the code of the City of Lancaster, Chapter 136, Emergency Management, Sections 136.4 and 136.5, to allow the Emergency Management Director and Deputy Director to be either residents or employees of the City of Lancaster, providing for the repeal of inconsistent ordinances, providing for the severability of the ordinance, and providing that the ordinance shall take effect as provided by Pennsylvania law.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Councilman Soto.
Thank you, Council President. This ordinance changes, the amendments to this ordinance changes the ordinance to allow City Emergency Management Director and Deputy Director to be either a city employee or city resident. Currently, those positions are limited to city staff. This is part of the effort to update the city emergency management plan. Currently, the fire chief runs the emergency plan, but it doesn't make sense to have him there and trying to deal with the emergency that his position holds. So that's why we're amending the ordinance. That's all, President.
Thank you. Other comments from council? From the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Valentine.
Aye.
Ms. Gray.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Rivera.
Aye.
Mr. Smith-Waddell.
Aye.
Mr. Soto.
Aye.
President Reitenbach.
Aye. Administration Bill number 6, 2019.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Lancaster, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, authorizing the city to enter into an intergovernmental cooperative agreement with East Lampeter Township regarding the installation, maintenance, and ownership of shared traffic control devices, setting forth the duration of the term of the agreement, the purposes and objectives of the agreement, the manner and extent of financing of the agreement, the organizational structure and implementation of the agreement, the manner in which property is acquired, managed, or licensed, or disposed of under and pursuant to the agreement, providing for the repeal of inconsistent ordinances, providing for the severability of the ordinance, and providing when the ordinance shall take effect.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Councilman Rivera.
Thank you, Mr. President. This agreement is related to a traffic signal shared by the city and Lampeter Township at Pitney and Enfield Roads, and Stead Road, I'm sorry. This agreement continues the cost sharing included in the prior agreement with the township for signals at Greenfield Road. Under that agreement, the township maintains the signal and bills the city for half the cost.
Other council comments? From the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Valentine.
Aye.
Ms. Gray.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz. Mr. Rivera.
Aye.
Mr. Smith-Waddell.
Aye.
Mr. Soto.
Aye.
President Reitenbach.
Aye. Move on to Administration Bill number 7, 2019.
An ordinance of the Council of the City of Lancaster authorizing and directing the proper officers of the City of Lancaster to exercise the city's power of eminent domain as set forth in sections 2801 and 3501.1 of the Third Class City Code, PA 11 PACS Section 12801 and 11 PACS Section 3501.1 and Section 303 of the optional Third Class City Charter Law, 53 PS Section 41303, Section 1501 of the Public Utility Code, 66 PACS Section 1501, and Pennsylvania Business Corporation Law, 15 PACS Section 1511-83, to appropriate and take portions of that property known as 1401 Columbia Avenue, Lancaster Township, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, providing for the repeal of inconsistent ordinances, providing for the severability of the ordinance, and providing that the ordinance shall take effect in accordance with Pennsylvania law.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Councilman Rivera.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill is related to a planned construction of a large diameter water main from Oyster Point into the city. The city has been in negotiations with the owner of 1401 Columbia Avenue, but has been unable to come to an agreeable term. The eminent domain process will include an appraisal to determine the fair market value of the easement. The owner believes that the property is to be commercial. However, the deed restriction allows only residential construction on the land. The owner would not be able to build over the water line, but the city maintains that buildings could be constructed on the property. And just for reference, this property is directly opposite the Stone Mill Plaza and Jackson Drive intersection.
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor, do you have a comment on this? It is my understanding that negotiations continue at this point, but it's also our understanding that we'll continue to move forward with this because of the importance of it. And then at any point in time, if negotiations come to fruition, this situation would obviously cease at that point. Any other council comments?
Is that the one right across the street from Giant?
Yes, Stone Mill Plaza.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other comments or questions? From the public? Anybody here that would like to speak on this issue? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Valentine.
Aye.
Ms. Gray.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Rivera.
Aye.
Mr. Smith-Waddell.
Aye.
Mr. Sebo.
Aye.
And President Wright. Aye.
Aye. Move on to Administration Bill number 8, 2019.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Lancaster, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, amending the code of the City of Lancaster, Chapter 150, Health Standards, Section 153, abatement by city charge, to authorize immediate abatement of unsanitary conditions causing a threat to public health and safety, providing for the repeal of inconsistent ordinances, providing for the severability of the ordinance, and providing that the ordinance shall take effect as provided by Pennsylvania law.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Councilman Sebo.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Let's see here. The city's current process involves providing a property owner a certain amount of time to abate a property violation. Typically, notification is 10 days. If the cleanup is not done, the city will address the problem and bill the property owner. In some circumstances, the situation is so egregious that action must be taken immediately to abate a health risk for the community. This amendment will allow that immediate action when the public health hazard is in place. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other comments from the council? From the public? Hearing none, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Valentine.
Aye.
Ms. Gray.
Aye.
Ms. Diaz.
Aye.
Mr. Rivera.
Aye.
Mr. Smith-Waddell.
Aye.
Mr. Sebo.
Aye.
President Wright. Aye.
Aye. Move into our second public comment period, which is open for comment about issues or concerns that were not on tonight's agenda. I'd ask that you limit the duration of your comments to 3 minutes. Is there anybody that'd like to comment? Yes, sir. Come on up. I was hoping you'd raise your hand. If you could just say your name and where you're from, that'd be great.
My name is Ashton Clatterbuck, and I live in Holtwood, so a little south. And I'm here from the Stone Independent School. And this marking period, my school offered a class called Addiction. And as my final project, I chose to research substance abuse in Lancaster, and then present something to City Council. Was sort of my proposal to the teacher, and she was like, run with it. So here I am. I wanted to start by saying that my project sort of took a more personal turn about 2 weeks ago when a friend of mine died from a heroin overdose at the age of 20. And so I'm sort of here for him. But going into this, I wanted to first of all kind of lay out some statistics that I came up with, not that I came up with, that I found from much more certified researchers. About Lancaster County specifically, there have been, starting in 2013 and going up till 2017, there's been a almost doubled, actually more than doubled, increase in overdose deaths in Lancaster. And then in 2018, though that did drop to be just over 100 deaths in the year 2018, that is more contributed to the use of like Narcan and other sort of reverse effect drugs that have saved lives, but does not necessarily mean that the actual use was less. And also in 2018, there were 144 EMS overdose responses, specifically just to Binns Park, which is obviously a very central part of our city, and so it is a very core issue, and it is, presents a real health endangerment to the health of the constituents of Lancaster. As part of the class, we also visited the county prison, and the deputy warden told us that there were about 85% of arrests there were specifically related to drug charges or to supply substance abuse or disorder. And so this is obviously a very huge issue in Lancaster County. And I would like to propose that City Council look into passing a resolution of some sort that will allow you to collaborate on like a more local level. I'll just give an example of a Tempe, Arizona, recently passed a ordinance resolution that included many action steps, including collaborating with county and city leaders to come up with a more substantial resolution, and also to mainly targeting education or educating young adults in the region about topics related to specifically the opioid crisis, because that's what they are facing most there in Arizona, as well as working with the fire and medical rescue and the Tempe Union High School and other recovery resources in the area, and they work together to collaborate and come up with solutions that have actually led to a significant drop in substance use in their area. And so city leaders here can collaborate with local high schools and universities in order to better collect and analyze data and keep track of the progress made. It's evident that this issue is much too large for just one municipality to take on alone, and so that's why creating these relationships would be really vital for our community here. And Lancaster is such a creative and synergetic community that I know if the mayor and council and commissioners and the school board, law enforcement, warden, and anyone else who wants to contribute and join forces, I know that we can come to a creative solution to solve, or at least get closer to solving, the problems that are related to this epidemic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. What was your name again?
Ashton Clatterbuck.
You are welcome here anytime, Mr. Clatterbuck. That was a very impressive presentation. Thank you for the information.
Thank you for allowing me to speak.
If I may, Ashton, thank you for your care and concern about this issue, and I just wanted to let you know that there is the thing that you're describing here in Lancaster. It's called Lancaster County Joining Forces, which is almost the exact phrasing of your last sentence. So this is a variety of organizations that are working together to address the opioid crisis here in Lancaster County, and I'd be happy to introduce you to some of the folks that are involved in that if you send me an email.
That would be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other public comment this evening? Mr. Brown, good evening.
I'm Terry Brown on West 7th Street. Okay, this is to the mayor. Okay, I'm trying to open up a basketball for the kids. To get them off the street, stop front of violence, get them about the crimes and everything down the line. Because I'm doing it because at one time I did it before because my nephew got killed, my cousin got shot, got killed, and a young girl, 18, 19-year-old. And I tried to get it down Farm Street, but Greg gave it to somebody else. Now, all I know, if I can get a donation from the city to get everything organized. That's why I'm just coming ask the man for donation and all that. So I can, if I can't get no donation, then I will take it out to everything myself to do it. It's going to be hard because the kids will come easy, but I'm just want to keep the thing out there by get the water for the kids because right now it's hot outside. It's hot. When we come in 2 weeks, right, it's probably hotter more. We got to get water, make sure the kids are nice and calm, and people bring kids, babies, right? I will keep them nice and calm and organized, and everything be all straightened out.
So, Mr. Brown, I would suggest if you have an idea to send the mayor an email or me an email, you know, like a proposal or what you're looking for. We do have grant opportunities that come up from time to time, depending, but they're usually pretty specific. But, you know, certainly be willing to hear what your thoughts are if you want to put it in an email and send it. If you don't know, you know, you can get a hold of Bernie and send it, and I'll make sure it gets to where it needs to go to.
Additionally, Council President, your relationship with the Lancaster Rec Commission would be an appropriate utilization because they do all of the youth programming in our parks, and they're gearing up for the summer, although I think much of their schedule has been set thus far.
Sure.
Okay. So that I know about because Rec is get me to teach baseball. I said no, I'm tired of teaching kids baseball. I'm tired. So I'm out baseball. I want to do something better for the kids in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
For sure.
That's what I'm sometimes do.
Mr. Brown, there's also, I don't know if you reached out to the police department, they do have a team that you might want to speak with them, that might you be part of. They have a big connection.
Is that the police athletic league?
Yes, we do. So maybe if you wanted to talk with, I don't know if you talked to Lieutenant Hickey, he might be able to direct you.
I never heard that before.
Well, if you follow up with an email, I can get you pointed in the right direction.
Yeah.
Sound good? All right. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Any other public comments this evening? Hearing none, we move to the report of the mayor.
Okay, so this is a little long. Apologies in advance, and consider this a conversation starter for council members and community. It's really not a starter, it's more of a continuation of a long conversation that we've been having for a lot of years. City finances. In 2007, the City of Lancaster, supported by the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development's Early Intervention Program, secured management partners to conduct an audit of all of the city operations systems, policies, and procedures. Additionally, they developed a multi-year financial plan to put the city on more secure footing. At the time, revenues were projected to increase at a rate of 2%, expenses at 5 to 6%, with health insurance a whopping 18%, and without course correction, the city would be on a path to a $69 million cumulative deficit by 2012. 12 years later, the city has avoided this dire prediction by reducing costs, increasing revenues, and significantly improving overall city functions. In summation, the city has benefited from careful budget management, a move to become self-insured, a growing economy and renewed interest in urban living, investor confidence with over $100 million of private investment, refinancing of bond funds saving the city some $12.8 million across the various enterprise funds, new systems and technology to support operations, continued investment in infrastructure. We've expanded the pilot, the payment in lieu of taxes program, implementing and regularly reassessing our fees to mirror actual costs for service provisions, and developing the CRIS to support and assisting ongoing economic development. While the city is certainly on more stable financial footing, there are still significant budgetary challenges year over year. We continue to rely on one-time savings generated from bond funds, real estate property tax transfers, which we cannot predict or plan for. Plan for and manage costs related to the stormwater consent decree, pay for long-term deferred maintenance over decades, adjust budgets for increased costs of living, about 2 to 3% annually, increase property taxes 8 times in the last 14 years, and see a flat total property assessment citywide. Property assessment, the value has only increased by 1.35% over the last 10 years. Further compounding this problem is the inaction in Harrisburg. There is the potential, _potential, for Harrisburg to deliver substantive assistance to cities like Lancaster who are doing all the right things in the way of pension reform, fully implementing fair funding formula for schools. In Lancaster, that would mean an additional $36 million annually. Just think about what kind of impact that would have for property taxpayers. 2/3 of their property tax bill goes to the school district of Lancaster. Property and property tax reform. They could also assist by updating the archaic 1965 Local Tax Enabling Act, which was frozen in time in 1988 to reflect the 21st century. Let's say goodbye to amusement taxes, mechanical device taxes, occupational taxes, head taxes. Yes, that's $10 for every person, and other nonsensical ways that we have to rely on to raise revenues. Most of these we do not use in the city of Lancaster, again, because they were frozen in time in 1988, and really, how much money are we going to make from jukeboxes in 2019? As a reminder, property taxes in the city of Lancaster generate about $30 million in revenue. We spend $36 million in public safety alone. What to do? Well, what everyone else does. We will look at ways to reduce the costs and increase revenues. To that end, I wanted to let Council know that we are taking steps now to enter the Department of Community and Economic Development's Early Intervention Program. Many of you will know this as the precursor to Act 47. Let me just assure you, we are nowhere near Act 47, and it is an ill-named program to really help cities do strategic planning, financial forecasting, and reviewing overall operations. We're going to be releasing an RFP this week to identify a consultant that will conduct a review of the city's financial operations to determine if there are additional opportunities for cost savings and/or operational efficiencies, develop a 5-year financial forecast related to expenses and corresponding total tax and utility burden as a % of income for residents based on median income. We continue to be a regional resource that is bound by arbitrary lines that say that even though we are supporting our region, only the people who live in the city are paying for that. We have 40,000 people that come into the city every day for work. We are a cultural institution hub, we are a government hub, and all of the burden for maintaining the city is on property tax residents who own property. Develop a 5-year revenue forecast considering current and known future development projects which will produce new incremental real estate tax revenue as LRTA property tax abatement incentives expire. Assess the advantages and disadvantages of adopting the Home Rule Charter to advance the city's objectives and financial sustainability. And provide short and long-term objectives and a plan of action related to cost savings and/or operational efficiencies as well as revenue enhancement. So those are some of the things that we've outlined in the RFP that will be sent out this week, and Patrick and I are working through a timeline to move this process forward as quickly as possible. What we will not do, we won't sit around and wait. I've begun to reach out to elected officials, including Senator Martin, Representative Sterla, and the Governor's Office. I've also presented to the Lancaster City Alliance's Advocacy Committee and will be presenting to members of the Chamber of Commerce's Advocacy Committee in July, I believe. The business community, along with our residents, need relief and are going to be critical to any effort to right the ship. And I am pleased to say that Senator Martin and I are in conversation about having a hearing very specifically focused on the financial sustainability of cities like Lancaster. I also want to be clear that the issues that we are talking about go far beyond a single line item in a budget or even a specific project that the city may be undertaking. These issues are structural, long-term, and as such need structural and long-term fixes. While cutting costs will help in the short term, they will do nothing long-term to contend with the fact that the cost of living and the cost of repaving streets, upgrading infrastructure, etc. are continuing to rise, and our tax base is not. So that's part one, and I look forward to continuing to engage with City Council members and City Council-elect members who are here tonight in continuing to move this conversation forward. It's going to need to be a drum that we are beating all the time, and so I'm going to be speaking about this issue every chance that I get because, quite frankly, the 2021 budget has me losing sleep. And I know we're not even into 2020 yet, but when I look ahead, it is not very long until 2021 to be exact, that if we don't do anything, we will eliminate our entire reserve and begin to operate in a deficit. And this is not news. This has been the way that it's been every 5-year financial forecast, and you can go back and look through the financial information that's on the city's website to have a historic look at where we've been, and that obviously corresponded with the 8 tax increases that have happened over the last 14 years. Okay, on to another topic that seems perennial, UGI. The Department of Public Works has asked UGI to expedite Walnut Street gas line and meter upgrades with additional crews and/or adding overtime hours. The city expects, I don't know, that's probably not the strongest word. The city demands to begin milling Walnut Street in August and paving in September. Based on the progress over the last few weeks, it doesn't look like services and a restoration will be completed at the current rate by UGI. And that rate has been changing. 18 days ago, it was 3 to 5 weeks remaining. Today, it's 4 to 6. A month ago, it was 5 to 7 weeks remaining. About 8 weeks ago, there was only 6 or 8 weeks left. So the target has been moving and it has been going backwards. As of today, UGI has committed to being done and out of the way for paving. Please mark your calendars. August 5th. August 5th, we will begin when UGI is finished. And we are holding them to that date. I wanted to let you know because Walnut Street is a mess. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And I think we all agree with your sentiment. That is indeed a mess and they need to get on the move. So thank you for that. I didn't have a report this evening, but I just want to thank the mayor for her leadership on the issues that she talked about in her report. We've had conversations about this, and coming from a leader of a city that is not in imminent threat means so much more, because so many cities over the last several years that have tried to advocate for this change have been in such dire financial circumstances that they were just simply tossed off as, well, you made poor choices, of course you want that change. I think it's critical for a city like Lancaster, while we certainly have our struggles, where we have played by every rule that was given to us. We've cut costs, we've cut jobs, we run a lean ship, we do the best we can maintaining the line, we raise taxes even when it's not popular. We're doing everything the rule book says we're supposed to do. And if you look at our projections, we can't win. We can't win. It's a game that you can't win. So I think it's imperative for a city like Lancaster to lead the way. I think you're the right mayor to do it. And anything that I can do to help, I certainly will. And thank you for engaging in it. And feel free to shout it from the rooftops. I'll be happy to do it with you. And in roles going forward in the future, I'll be happy to help in every way I can to get you where you want to go. So thank you for the leadership. And I know we're going to get to where we want to be because of it. Any other council comments?
It was a joy meeting all the many grant recipients from the Love My Block initiative. It's a great initiative. It's cool to see so many of our neighbors and other residents who are taking initiative in their areas to beautify where they live and really kind of being an inspiration to the rest of their community as well as all of us. So shout out to Michael and Carl for the invitation. I really appreciated that today.
Great. Any other comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming out this evening. And young man, thank you again for coming out, taking the time out of your evening. Very cool.